Hello and welcome to our presentation on informational interviewing. This is for Linfield College's IDS TO52, our career planning and preparation class, and presented by Donna Montoya. So the first place to start is to define an informational interview. When we hear the word interview, we generally think of a job interview and we get all nervous and anxious and think about those rejections or what ifs. An informational interview is actually the opposite. You are the one doing an interview with a professional, so you're asking them the questions. This can be to discover more about a career or a certain job, to learn more about a company or an industry, but you're the one gathering information from them. It is a very important informational and knowledge gathering tool, and it's also a wonderful professional connections tool, and they're really used hand in hand, whether you're actively looking for a position or not. And the reason that it's so valuable are some of these points here that I'll make. One of the points is 200 versus 12. So if you are in an active job search, a lot of people realize that it takes a lot of submissions of their resume and inquiries to even get a foot in the door for an interview. And of course, through this whole course and all of this discussion, we know that that's not the best way to do it. Normally it takes about 200 of these tries to even get a foot in the door to an interview. If you're doing informational interviewing and you're combining this with a very purposeful, active way of connecting with professionals and learning about their jobs and careers and openings, etc., it normally takes on average about 12 of these to get your foot in the door to an interview. And then it's up to you, and then it's the interview side and how you follow up with that. One of the best things about informational interviews is that you do get a lot of information about careers, and this can help as you're looking at that 200 versus 12. The more you know about something, the better you can prepare. You may find out it's not a career for you, and it's kept you from applying to a ton of jobs you realize that you're just not a fit for. You may find out some industry trends or secrets or a great networking opportunity that's going to help you on a job search. It'll help you learn what you need to do to break into a career, and we know that there are some industries that are just really hard to get into. By talking to some of the people who have gotten in, you'll learn some ways that you might increase your chances of getting that interview and getting a job there. And of course, probably the most important point is that you get a personal view of the actual job. Just like when hiring managers are reading your resume and cover letters, they're just looking at a piece of paper, and it could look great or not on paper, but it might not be the true essence of who you are. And the same thing can go for when you're looking for a job or looking at companies. It could look great through the job description, or they could have a wonderful website. And of course, we know that you should be doing more personal outreach and talking to people. Informational interviews is one of the ways to do it. So you're actually connecting with a person who's actually doing the work, actually at this company or industry, and you get a real view of what it's like. And that can be more valuable than any of the other pieces, because it helps you make a great decision about whether you're going to pursue this type of opportunity or not. So of course, to make all of this work, you do have to go in with a very active, purposeful mindset. So do your research beforehand. Just like you wouldn't walk into any job interview without doing research, you need to do the same thing for informational interviews. So see everything you can glean from online research, LinkedIn, learning about the person through their profiles on their company website. When I talk to professionals who do a lot of informational interviews, it is a real disappointment when the interview is all about things that the person could have just looked up on their own. This person, the professionals, they want to go deeper. They want to have an interactive, intellectual conversation. They want to help the person, and it's a letdown for them if it's just basic information someone could have looked up. Prepare your elevator pitch. So this, although you're going to do most of the question asking, it's going to be a conversation. It's the personal side of getting to do research. And if a professional agrees to do an informational interview, they'll want to learn about you too. So you want to be prepared as well. Part of that goes into dressing appropriately. So just like with a normal interview, you do your research online and talk to other people you know, and then dress just one step up from that person. You do need to keep it professional. So even if it's in a coffee shop over lunch or maybe on a Saturday morning and you're not technically in a work day, this is a professional activity. So you need to be professional, maintain your professional integrity, and know that this person is doing it from a professional standpoint as well. One of the most important points is to never ask for the job. And yes, a lot of people do informational interviewing as part of their job search, and we discussed great reasons why. But that is a lot of pressure on someone, and it's unfair to say, I'm here because I'd really like you to put in a good word for me on this job, or this is the job I'm applying for, and put pressure on them to make a decision about you. That's not why they're doing it. They probably know that you'd like to work there or that you're thinking about working there, and that's why you've contacted them. But that's not fair for them, and it's not fair for you. Your job is to make them want to advocate for you, and then they will if timing is right and if they feel comfortable. Have a list of questions prepared, and that's a way to be purposeful about your informational interview, and we'll go over how to think and prepare those in a moment. And always thank the professional, and I really prefer handwritten thank you notes as a wonderful follow-up. So getting a business card is probably a great idea so you know where to send it. Most people do follow up quickly, just like in a normal interview, with a quick email thank you as well. But be very genuine, and if there's some information they gave you or a website or resource they sent you, be able to refer to the fact that you've used it or read it or that you're planning to subscribe to something so that they know that they've made a good impact on you. So I alluded to the fact that we will talk about some questions, and they're really based off of what you want to know and what your purpose is for this interview. So there are a lot of different contexts for people to reach out to others for informational interviews. A lot of it also has to do with what you care about when you're thinking about a job or a career or different industries. And some of this will come from the flower exercise and kind of from your self-inventory. What do you know that you want? What type of activities or skills or characteristics? So think back to the flower exercise. Think to your 8 greats. See what you shine doing, and see if that's something that would be compatible to this job or industry. Next on the list is finding the interviewee, because it's all great in theory, right? But if you have no one to interview or connect with, that could pose a problem. So of course, first use your net. Of course, if you are professionally connected to someone doing a job that you'd really be interested in or at a company of interest, of course do an informational interview with them, but really try to keep it professional. Otherwise, it's going to turn into something that's not as much an informational interview as just chatting over coffee. Some of the best people to reach out to are not your first connections, but weak ties, which would be maybe second or third connections. So as you use your net, ask them if they would recommend someone, and that's who I recommend reaching out to. One of the important parts of informational interviewing is that it is part of networking and creating a bigger and better and stronger net for you. So online networks can really help with that, such as LinkedIn. Or other perhaps associations or other online networking groups, and your formal or informal group events too. A lot of informational interviews can be established because you met someone at a trade show booth and you're interested in what they have up their sleeve in terms of their career, and that's a way to start a conversation. So when we talk about contacting the interviewee, it can be by phone or email. By phone, some people have to write out a script, and if you've never done informational interviewing before, or if you're pretty new to a professional career, it can be very scary to do it the first time, and I promise it gets easier. So just like if you're doing an interview over the phone, smile. It will help you be stronger and more confident and more friendly. Be efficient. So having a script or at least points to talk about will help you. Most people choose to contact others by email now, so use your personal email unless if you're going to be using your work or company email, unless it's within your company. Something that I think is worth noting is that a lot of people in large companies are able to move around because they take advantage of the fact that they already have a wonderfully built-in network at their own corporation. And if that's part of the culture, then take advantage of that and know that if you're welcomed to do it, this is a resource you really should be doing. The subject line really should include the reference that it's about informational interviewing, and if they have any contact with you, your name, so that they know who it's from and it doesn't get shoved aside. Use proper grammar for any email etiquette this would be in effect, and also use an email signature. As for what you want to put in these ways to reach out to others, if they are a contact from someone that you already know, be sure to reference that person. It helps them gain a little stability in knowing where you're at. Introduce yourself quickly, so a very abbreviated version of, again, your elevator pitch. When you ask them if they'd be interested in an informational interview, have a couple of dates and times that work for you. It's a lot easier for someone to respond to something concrete than anytime in the next 2 months. Well, I'm pretty sure I'm free in the next 2 months, but you give me no framework to work around. I don't really want to think about it, so I'm not going to respond, and then it gets shoved under a lot of other emails. So it's a lot easier to respond to something that's already proposed, even if you have to say, well, 3 p.m. doesn't work, how about 4? Say thank you. And one day before the interview, email a confirmation to them so everyone knows when and where they're meeting. It's a good reminder. And in this confirmation, if it's in a public place, you're not sure you're going to recognize them, you may say something like, I'll be the one wearing the bright red blazer, or I'll be coming in on my bike, so you'll see my bike helmet, so you can identify each other. And of course, one of the things I mentioned was that informational interviewing, although the informational part is very important, the networking part is also important. This can help you do things like expand your network. If you've made a great impression on someone and they now know you personally, they will be part of your network and they'll help vouch for you. They'll send you more information. They might connect you to someone else. It can actually help you establish mentors. If you really connect with someone and you realize that you've been talking for 2 or 3 hours with them, and this, I get reports back from students where this happened, it eventually becomes more of a mentor relationship. They may show you some online networks or talk to you about new group events that will help you in your job or career development search. And of course, they can connect you to job or internship opportunities. Like I said before, a lot of people use informational interviewing as a job search mechanism. And of course, you're not going to hide it if you're applying for a job or plan to apply to a job with them. And of course, again, it's on them if they're going to take action after that. But once they know you and like you, they may refer you out to other places that are hiring. And that is a wonderful way to conclude our presentation on informational interviewing. Good luck out there. Have fun with the process, learn a lot, and make some connections.